Hello everybody and welcome to another Modern League. I'm going to be playing Nexus of Fate again, the Reclamation Nexus deck, but this time I'm adding Beans. Up The Beanstalk, seeing a lot of play in Modern, and I'm going to give it a try in this deck. Unlike a lot of the other decks though, this one only has 11 different effects or spells that will trigger it. We're just playing the 4 Lorien Revealeds, 2 Time Walks, Shark Typhoon, and Nexus. But the thing is, Nexus is only 4 cards, but with it shuffling, we're going to play it hopefully more than 4 times and actually get value on Up The Beanstalk. Whereas some of the other decks are just playing like 20 cards. I did brew kind of a version here that is a little bit more on the Up The Beanstalk plan, where it's got the white, so you can do Leyline Binding, Solitude, Prismatic Ending as all ways to trigger Up The Beanstalk, and then it's got the same Nexus and Lorien Revealeds, and then Temporal Mastery, which you can use with the Jace. Teferi is actually pretty good with the Reclamation, because then you can actually play your instants like Lorien Revealeds at your end step with the Wilderness Reclamation on the stack. So this is obviously the mana base would have to change to fit the color, as well as 3 more cards would need to be cut. So this is kind of a different brew where it's more all in on the Up The Beanstalk with a lot more ways of triggering it. 22 ways of triggering, plus the Nexus of Fate that's going to shuffle back in and be able to be cast multiple times. But I'm not going to play this list today. Still need to work on cutting down those 3 cards. Maybe the Growth Spirals will get cut, and then with 3 colors, maybe add that 1 more land up to 24. And then be at our 60 cards there. But today we will be playing just the Simic version without the white. Getting Eternal Witnesses, Growth Spout, and more counter magic. The other version kind of cutting the counters and a little bit more reactive rather than preventative, countering versus answering them on the battlefield. So just 2 different kind of routes to take this deck. But alright, let's go ahead and get started with the first match. On to match 1. Lost a die roll, so we'll be on the draw. Okay, starting hand here, we got the turn 1 Lorien Revealed. Don't have a 2-drop, but then can charm into command, so not too bad. They got fetch for Blood Crypt, and it looks like some kind of scam. Little weird to be playing Foothills and scam though, but either way, on the play, getting a 8/8 double strike. This is definitely not the hand to beat that. Another draw of a land's not good, not what we need. We need something to block or deal with the turn 1 8/8. And then a Windset Heath's another interesting, not quite sure what they're playing. Go and get our Breeding Pool here, gets a double green in case we do get a Witness. And then playing it out here, the 2 damage isn't going to shorten the clock at all. So we can take the 2 damage. They get a Breeding Pool, so it's not scam. It's some kind of scam. It does the scam mechanic, but it's not like the typical black-red scam deck. Bowmaster, that will kill me. I've got to counter that. Again, that one's more traditional scam, so I don't quite know what they're doing with blue. And draw a land, play that. we're just dead here. But I kind of want to see more of what they're doing. Another Bowmaster. So I could counter that, but I can actually steal their army token here and then use that as a blocker for Fury. Problem is, because I did shock, that would actually put me down to the Bowmaster would still swing in and kill me. So had I not shocked and I just played one of the other lands for turn, I mean, it's still very likely they have some other thing or could kill the token after I steal it, but it's game over. Probably wasn't winning that even if I didn't shock, but yeah, turn 1, 8-8 on the play, so kind of hard to do anything about that. We'll try better for game 2. For game 2, I took out the Archmage's Charm and the Shark Typhoon to put in the 2 Fogs, the 2 Aether Gust, and then the 1 Void Mirror. I don't exactly know what they're doing, so I don't know how effective Void Mirror is going to be. It does stop their Fury scam, but I don't know what else they're doing to know how effective it is. We do get to be on the play, which is much better. Not a great hand either. I don't know if it's really worth it to try to aggressively mulligan for some more early game play, but it is keepable, and we do have the Lorien revealed to get a green mana, so. And also against the scam deck, you just don't really want to mulligan down. If they do have the grief scam, and you mulligan down to 5 cards, they can just knock out 2 cards from your hand, and then you're just in a really bad spot. So they got a Triumph, turn 1. I do forget to Island Cycle here, but I ended up not drawing anything relevant, so I'll just Island Cycle on this turn. Okay, there's a Sacred Foundry, and there's a Kavu, so almost looks like a different deck, but this is the same deck we just lost to first game. And now they have a Kavu. Gross Files, not bad here. It's a little late. I would have liked it turn 2, so we could have Reclamation this turn. They attack in for 5, discard and draw. And then sign. So it is like the 5-color tribal deck, but with the scam element to it. Okay, 8th August is a little late. I would have liked that a lot of turns ago. Gonna try play out the Reclamation here. I don't have enough to Nexus, and I'm not really gonna get to utilize this too well. But they have the Stubborn Denial, so that's unfortunate. We're just being too slow, and for just both games they've been really fast. There's Grief. They get our second Reclamation, and then now that they know about this Witness, they're going to exile a card from graveyard. They choose the Growth Spiral. They attack us down to 6, and then at this point, can Witness to bring back something not relevant, and Aether Gust the Kavu, but they still got a Flyer and a Menace, so we can't block either one of them with just a Witness. Don't have enough mana to Nexus. Could Lorien revealed, but we're not going to draw anything relevant. I guess I could have chance to Lorien. I didn't think about this line, but I could have tried to play the Lorien Revealed, hoped to get both a green mana and a fog, and stalled one more turn. I forgot fog was in the deck because I had not made my land drop yet this turn. So yeah, that is a line I could have done and I missed. I don't know that I would have drawn a fog and a green source, but out of 3 cards. Not very good odds, but it was an out that a line I could have taken. So we lose match number 1 to whatever scam zoo deck this is. And we'll try better match number 2. Into match 2, we won the die roll, so we're actually on the play. It's always good. And opening hands, okay, it's got our only basic force in the deck and counterspell, which is not a good combination, but definitely with double growth spiral, time warp, it's a keepable hand, definitely. Gonna lead on the harbor, just because if we draw a untapped blue source, we could have access to counterspell. If we don't draw an untapped blue source, we can still play the basic forest and still grow spell. We play plains into Scar's Aid, so another fast deck. Jace is a good draw here. Not the untapped blue source we wanted, but. And then Pierce, Steel Paladin. So it looks like they kind of got a slower start. They did mulligan down quite a bit, so they do only have 3 cards left. So go ahead and grow spiral end of turn here. Put in the breeding pool tapped. Okay, Vista's good. I'm gonna save that for this Jace Brainstorm, in case so I can put some cards back and then shuffle. Right now, I just want to get this Paladin off. Slow down their clock a little. Now they have to replay it. It can't attack. So I'm not really in danger of dying. They only have like 1 hasty creature, so unless they play it in 2 hammers, I'm not really in danger of dying. They replay the Pure Stone, and they have a Shadow Sphere. They get to equip it for free. They played it sorcery speed, I'm guessing just because they're the blue deck and they don't want to have their things countered. So makes sense to play one tapped out. Okay, Archmage Charm. We're just going 0 Jace here. Put the Charm in the second growth spiral on top. Play the Vista, shuffle those away. Just get a basic island. And then Time Warp. What we're really looking for is just trying to find our Nexus now. So since neither of those cards were Nexus, shuffle them away. They were good cards, or Reclamation. And then we do find the Reclamation, so we'll use the Jace. A lot of good cards here. Definitely can put back a land and one of the other cards. And then we do not have enough here to up the Beanstalk before we Nexus, and Nexus, so we'll just play at the Reclamation. Make sure to add that stop at the end of turn so that we can float the mana and untap and then take our extra turn with Nexus. Which you into another Nexus, so now we have enough mana we can up the Beanstalk first. Draw a card. Jace, put back 2 lands. Still have enough mana we can grow spell, put in the Hall, and then we've got another Nexus lined up after this. So now we start seeing this Up The Beanstalk with Nexus here, just getting that extra card. Play up Seiju, Jace, put 2 cards back. And at this point we already have the Nexus lined up for next turn, so we can actually start trying to close and end the game here and attack with the Hall. Put Reclamation on stack, untap, Nexus. Good. Okay, so now we don't have an extra turn spell lined up, and we did not find one off the top here. So we're going to put, oh wait, but we did find the Eternal Witness, which will get back Time Warp for an extra turn spell, so do that. Play out the Time Warp, target ourselves, draw a card with Time Warp, float our 2 mana, charm, draw 2. It is tempting here to steal their Shadow Sphere so that we can equip it to our own creature, but really just want to find the Nexus and thin our deck here to try to close out this game. Have to discard the hand size, discard one of these lands. Our 4th Reclamation here. Really need to just find their extra turn spell, so we'll draw 4 cards with Lorien Revealed. Get our Shock Typhoon, and we do find our Nexus. And at this point, we can actually play our Shark Typhoon, draw a card. No reason really to, we already have to get the discard to hand size, so no reason to zero the Jace here. So yeah, just bounce their blocker so I can get in with Eternal Witness, and then they are determined to see this through. They do not believe in conceding. So we'll make a 7/7 Shark, Growth Spell, put a land in, make a 2/2 Shark, discard the hand size, some of these extra Reclamations, draw another Nexus of Fate, don't even need to take the turn though, and don't even need to activate the Hall, just attack with the Shocks, and we get game number 1 against Hammer. On to game 2. For sideboarding, took out the Shark Typhoon and Time Warp and Cryptics, because they're a little slow for the match, and then put in the Engineer Explosives and the Force of Vigors. We will be on the draw for this one. Good starting hand. It's got turn 2 Counterspell or turn 2 Growth Spell, depending what they do. Archmage's Charm can steal one of their artifacts, like their Ornithopter. Okay, I like seeing Hammer on the battlefield. It means it's not going to be put in with the enchantment. Does mean they have the Pierce Stone, but also means they won't be drawing a card because they played it first rather than waiting. But I guess against blue, that's probably just what you want to do. You want to get in the battlefield when they don't have the mana open. We're going to sack the Misty, grab a Breeding Pool tapped, another Growth Spell, just hold up for either countering their 3rd artifact so they can't get Metalcrafts. And we can't counter that artifact, so they are able to play that. And I realized this afterwards, but I should have just Growth Spiraled here, but still holding up the counter magic may have been the right thing, but Growth Spiraled into the Force of Vigor, and if I had done that, I could have prevented 10 damage there. But now I get to force with counter backup, so if they do have a protection thing, I can actually counter their protective magic. But I do want to get this Saga, that is going to be a problem. So forcing it, pitching one of these extra growth spirals I have, destroying the Saga before it gets the first chapter, so they can't tap it for mana. Discard his aid and Pure Stone, so yeah, they definitely don't have an issue with equipping their equipment. They just need to find the equipment. So they think about attacking here. I'm at 6 life. It seems like you definitely should attack, but I think they're just really afraid that I'm playing Endurance, so they actually hold off on the attack. I think with me being at such a low life, you gotta attack, but I'm okay with them not attacking. So Growth Spiral here, get a haul, play to fetch. I thought I had enough to both Lorien and had the counter magic up, but I don't, so I'm close though, so it's not worth cycling this Lorien right now. I'd rather just wait until I can cast it. Second Pure Stone's pretty scary, especially when I'm at 6 life, but I really want to save this counter magic for something that will kill me. So I'm going to draw 3 cards here to just try to get some answers for what's going on. Another counter spell. Go and fetch. Get a tapped breeding pool. Okay, second force is definitely a good draw here. I kind of want to save up the mana to cast it, but I would rather just draw these 3 cards and maybe try to find the green card to pitch, and I do. I find the Witness and a third counterspell. They activate the Ink Moth, and now that I don't have 3 mana open, they are attacking, so I think that is they're just afraid of Endurance. They attack in and put me down to 1. They play a second Ink Moth. Engineer Exposure is a really good draw here. I get to answer both these Pure Stones pretty well. So play that out. And just save open this mana and this Eternal Witness for the force. Stoneforge, definitely counter this here. They can put equipment in at instant speed. And it actually can attack and kill me. Second Nexus, not really much of a reason to play him here. Don't get value. I don't have like Bean or anything to do with the extra turn, so just play the Eternal Witness here and bring back the Charm. Just a way to try to play that and draw some more cards, get something to do with these extra turns. And then I'm just going to hardcast the force. If they have this spell that saves it, it's still not lethal. And attack in for 2. I have enough counter magic. I'm not worried about them having something that's going to haste in for 1 point of damage. And yeah, they've seen enough. They actually concede now a little bit ahead of time, unlike last game where they decided not to concede at all. Also, just the fact of me being the Nexus deck taking all the extra turns, I'm still only like a minute behind them, so nowhere near timing out. Yeah, I could have ended their turn, played Nexus, and then got 2 extra turns, and then tried to draw some cards. It was not looking good for them, especially seeing our hands, but alright, we get match number 2 against Hammer. Match number 3, we won the die roll, so we get to be on the play. Opening hands, good. It's got Up The Beanstalk. We can get our green mana with Lorien Revealed. Definitely want to get an island with this Vista, so we'll keep it. It's a little light on the lands, but we got some turns to draw some. And this opponent is on Amulet Titan, a deck I know quite well. Go and get our basic island here, and then island cycle for a forest. So one of the things with Amulet is their turn 2's not really that scary. I don't necessarily need to hold up the counterspell. Of course, I could go second Amulet and just win on turn 2, but I think just getting Up the Beanstalk and drawing that card is better than trying to hold up mana for counterspell. And they have a turn 2 map, so definitely not scary. Did not get punished for the Up the Beanstalk. Now turn 3, a little bit different. Definitely want to hold up the counter magic here. Especially when we're just playing out of Gretchen. They do bounce their bounce land back to the hands. They probably don't have another one. The One Ring, I don't think is worth countering. I'm not going to attack or target them next turn anyway, so just let them get that card draw, and then I really am just focused on countering their Titan. So sack Misty Rainforest, get another breeding pool. We have a 4 mana now for Reclamation, which is good. Second Jace is not good. Just got this Reclamation so I can still keep up counter magic. I get to draw some cards with the One Ring. Cavern Souls, not what I like to see. So I'm just going to kind of spell the Amulet. They actually tap their Cavern. If I didn't counter this Amulet, they wouldn't have been able to cast a Titan off of Cavern. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't tap their Valakut over their Amulet for the Amulet, but either way. And then they also don't make a land, or no, wait, they did make land drop Cavern Souls. Okay, so definitely want to lead on the Jace before I crack this fetch, so I can put back the second Jace, but then I redid the math, and if I play Jace, I can't Nexus. So I'm actually going to just play Gretchen. That way I can Nexus at end of turn. So go get my basic island, float my 3 lands, 3 mana, and then now I can Nexus, and I get to draw a card because of the Beanstalk, so. Okay, counterspell's good. Won't counter their giant, but Cryptic's actually really good here. I'll be able to, even if they play an uncounterable Titan, I can still tap down their board before attacks. So I'll play out this Jace to try to find my land drop for the turn. And I do not find a land drop, which is sad. So go and put a Jace and a Charm on top. And then I don't have, because I didn't get a land drop there, I don't have the mana now for Nexus. And then they actually have to, so they didn't do this last turn. But now they are going to Boseiju my Reclamation, which is good. I did need that land drop. and shuffle away those 2 cards on top is definitely good as well. They draw more cards with 1 ring. Their life total doesn't really matter, so yeah, easy to just tap and draw the cards. They have the Grazer, so here's Titan mana. They don't have the Titan, so they have to pact for it. And then probably going to get the haste. And then the real question is which 2 lands you get off of this attack. And they get double Urza Saga, which is great for us, because now they should have gotten another green source there. They left themselves with only 2 green sources to pay for a pact. So I can just take this damage, go down 7, and then this Cryptic Command can bounce one of their sanctuaries, and they cannot pay for their pact. So, just going to go and use the Brainstorm of Jace, and then put back a Charm and a lands, play my lands. Now, I know the deck pretty well, and I don't think they have any, I don't think there's any tech that I've seen that would allow them to be able to pay for their pact if that bounces land, but I'm still going to kind of play it a little bit safe and try to get a little bit more before I just bounce their thing in case I do miss something. I don't want to like randomly lose. So, gonna take an extra turn. Gonna get another Brainstorm, get a Reclamation, which is good. Now I can play with the Reclamation, and then play the Cryptic, bouncing their green mana, and now having mana open to counterspell if they do have something that would allow them to add green mana. They go to their upkeep, they realize their mistake as they put their pact trigger on the stack, and they concede. And we get game number 1 against Amulet Titan. Sideboarding for this was really difficult. I had a tough time deciding what to cut out, how many engineer explosives I want to put in. It is really good against both multiple amulets and multiple saga tokens. So I thought at least 1 was the right number. I couldn't really figure out what to cut for a second one. And then Spell Piercers are pretty tempting. For their turn 1 amulet being on the draw, they're a little less tempting. But definitely want to put in the Force of Vigors, put in the Fog. Aether Gust is actually really good against them, so wanted that in the deck. So then Charm's good because it can steal their amulet, so trying to figure out the right number of Charms to keep in. Cryptic, just won the game last game, so hard to cut the game-winning card. But I did trim it down, and then just trim down the Time Warp and trim down an Eternal Witness. I normally don't like to cut all the copies of the cards because this deck does draw a lot of cards and will eventually see through the deck. So I do like having at least like 1 Time Warp still in the deck, or 1 Charm. In this case, I kept 2 Charms in, and then Shark Typhoon's just kind of been one of the first cards you cut. It's just this slow and bulky, like win condition card that it's not really needed. after I get sideboard plans. So that's the sideboard decision. And then he mentioned that he made a mistake, and then I said that's why I cut packs. Throw that little plug there for the packless Amulet Titan that I've been playing. That's just been really good for me. And then he's disagreeing that you can't cut packs, but not a very good opening hand here. No green, but I am on the draw. And we do have the turn 2 counterspell, and if we do get a green, these growth spirals start looking really good. It's worth it. We have a lot of green sources, a lot of fetches to get Lorien revealed, so I think it's worth keep trying this 2-lander. Turn 1 Saga Amulet, super risky. Really wish I had a Force of Vigor right now. That would just be super punishing, and they mulligan down to 5 cards, so yeah, this would be super punishing if I can draw a Force of Vigor. No, another Nexus. It's exactly not what we need. So play out our land. They get their Slayers, which is not the good land that they want to draw. Reclamation, a second Reclamation, still not what we need, so not looking too good here. Really need to draw that. Really need this next card to be a lands, or we're going to be in a lot of trouble. They float the mana, they get their second Amulet, down to 3 cards in hands. They make 6 mana, and they go for the Pact. So obviously let this resolve. They went for Titan, counter the Titan, and they can't pay for Pact. So pretty risky them. I mean, they did mulligan on quite far, and I guess you just kind of have to try it and go for it. But again, if instead of Summer's Pact, this was Green Sun, then yeah, I would counter the Green Sun, and he still would have at least been in the game. So I think Pact was really good for Titan, but again, this is just 2 games in a row of just examples of like how you have to play around all these random things, and your Pact decisions are really just more risky. You can't always give your Titan haste, because sometimes you got to get the mana that's going to allow you to pay for Pact, do a Solitude. It's just, yeah, prime example of showcasing how bad Pact can be sometimes. But anyway, had a great hand, but I guess all we need to do is play one time counterspell, and we get match number 3 against Amulet Titan. Match number 4. We are on the play again. Opening hand's good, with the Lorien revealed, being able to get another land drop. We've got Growth Spiral turn 2 for turn 3 Reclamation. Got a lot of good things going on. They play Wooded Foothills, not sure what that means they're playing. So, and no turn 1 drop. I think just shocking the breeding pool here, and then search out the basic. Maybe should have done it the other way, search for the basic, or put in the basic and then Lorien revealed for the shock, but with my draw it ended up not mattering which way I did it. Okay, so they get a Triome, another fetch, Stomping Grounds, and just okay, so they're Undredge. Not sure how this matchup's going to be. They hit 2 Creeping Chills, 2 Prized, Nakamita. Pretty good turn 2 for them. Gonna play out the Wilderness Reclamation. Get on tap. It's been a while since I've seen him on Shriekhorn. Alright, so they play Ox. With us being at 11, they attack in for 7. If they, with 6 cards in their hand and dredging a lot, if they hit 1 Creeping Chill, it puts us dead to any fetch that we draw. If they hit 2 Creeping Chills, which they've already hit 2 Creeping Chills, so if they hit the last 2, we just die here. As much as I want to draw these 2 cards to try to find, you know, something good, I think we need to counter this Ox, because that discarding their hand and dredging a lot is going to put us too low. So take that, and then yeah, there is the fetch land. So if they did hit Creeping Chill, we would just be dead here. We wouldn't be able to fetch, but because we do have that, now we can take an extra turn, try to get something, and at this point, and I know this replay doesn't actually show, but I do have this end of turn checked here to make sure that I can cast stuff at the end of my turn. Archmage's Charm myself to try to draw 2 cards. Alright, drawing more lands. I do get to get another Time Walk here. And then this is when Mika Core comes in. I don't like giving my opponent more cards, but at this point, if they get another turn, I'm dead anyway, so just hopefully drawing cards so they don't get another turn. Play out my lands. Play at the Nexus first, that way it shuffles in and I have a better chance of drawing it with this Mika Core. There's also an argument for Mika Coring first to maybe hit something that I could play like a second Reclamation, because I'd still have 4 mana open, and then Nexus at end of turn since that's an instant. But I end up drawing a land anyway, so that line. And then there's another land, so I get 2 more chances here at Mika Core. Archmage's Charms, 2 more chances. I get 1 more chance with Mika Core, so I just want to thin my deck of as much lands as possible to increase the chance of hitting a Nexus. So this has to either be a Cryptic Command, which might do it, might tap down the board and give me another turn, or a Nexus of Fate to try to keep drawing. So draw, and it's Alolan Revealed. They just have lethal, they attack in. Did not get the Nexus or the Cryptic, so we'll try game 2. Our sideboard for Graveyard Hate is not the best. There's only 1 Lantern there for Graveyard, so put that in, put in the 2 Fogs, took out the counterspells. They're not too helpful against a lot of the stuff they do, because a lot of it's just playing from the graveyard. And then took out the Shark Typhoon. Again, just kind of slow. Okay hand here. We got, again, the light on lands, but got the Growth Spiral and Up the Beanstalk to hopefully help us get it there. And we do actually have the Fog in hand, which is good against him. The Haywire Might. Just gonna go and play out the Up the Beanstalk as a target that they can do for Haywire Might. Definitely not the best target that we have. This Reclamation is. I could go the Growth Spiral into the turn 3 Reclamation, but they have the Might on the battlefield already, so. They don't go for the bait of the Up the Beanstalk, so we'll try the Lantern and see if maybe they'll take that bait. Exile their land from the graveyard. So the Soul Lantern does get out the bait. They didn't attack in for the 1 damage first, but I don't really think we need to exile their Haywire Mite from the graveyard, so would rather just have the card draw here. So gonna Growth Spiral first to put in this Mikokoro, and then tap the Mikokoro to sacrifice the Lantern. That way it also goes back in our graveyard if we do draw the Witness, rather than getting exiled. And then they Shriekhorn and get Nakamura. So I play out the Reclamation here, but because I don't have my land for the turn, the better line probably would have been to Island Cycle this Lorien and then play out the Reclamation. But I missed that line. Just hitting land drops is important, so I'm kind of I wanted to hold it to be able to draw the cards, but I have enough card draw here. I really just need to get the land drop. Attack in for 1. They are also struggling with lands, actually a lot worse than we are. They're at one land. So just Charm here, try to draw some cards. We do end up getting the 5th land, which is good, and the Time Warp, which is good. Go and play a Time Warp, draw a card from the Up The Beanstalk, end the turn, get the Growth Spiral, get the Growth Spiral again. No land. Again, I could have cycled one of these to make sure I hit a land drop off the Growth Spiral, but at this point, I have enough mana that I can actually start casting the Lorien Reveals, which is what I'm going to do here. 5 mana, draw 4 cards. Do not hit a land drop. So, going this time, cycle the second Lorien Revealed for a land drop. Float to 1 mana. Tap a bunch of mana to play this Nexus, draw a card. Jace is a good draw here. Put back one of these 2 fogs and islands. And one of the things about the Nexus with the Reclamation is you will draw the card before it shuffles, so with the Jace putting 2 cards back, you will end up drawing one of the 2 cards you put back. Float to mana, play the Nexus, put back the fog that we had put back on top, and then we shuffle away one of the 2 cards we put on top. And then just go and draw 2 more cards, and then hit the Growth Spiral, so play that, draw another card, put another lands. This is not technically deterministic yet, but I mean, between the Jace and this drawing 4 more cards, it is very, very likely that we're not going to fizzle, and that we can just... So now we're just looking for like a way to actually end the game, and this Hall of Storm Giants is the way to actually end the game. So play out the Scratchins so I can end of turn, put in the Hall, float to mana, Nexus first so that we have a better chance of drawing a Nexus off of this Scratchin. And then now we actually have to start discarding for the turn. So they're not going to get another turn. These counter spells aren't really useful. Second Jace isn't really useful. Hit a Nexus. Get to activate Hall and actually start getting some damage in. Kind of risky to play up both Boonstocks. Really just need the 1, so put 1 back. Play another Reclamation, not that it really matters, but we can just cast all 3 Nexuses this turn. So just float a bunch of mana, play Nexus. I kind of wanted to, before the draw, play the next Nexus and just kind of like have them all in the stack at the same time and then start drawing, but I have the auto yield on and it's not really too relevant, so just playing him, drawing. So one thing Magic Online doesn't have is a turn counter. I don't actually know how many extra turns we have, but I'm sure it's enough. Attack with the Hall again. Just starting to plus up Jace at this point. Like it's already. I know we have at least one more turn, and I have this Nexus, so and this Hall is gonna attack in. Yeah, and they know that now too. So we get game number 2. First game 3 of the league. We are on the draw. No changes to sideboard. Okay hand here. I don't like that Vista is gonna have to get the basic forced in order to cast either the Growth Spout or Gretchen on turn 2. But it still works, so it's definitely keepable. They've got turn 1 Shriekhorn out of Malta 6. More blue mana, not really what we wanted to draw. And mill away Might, mill away some other things, and then Urza Saga, that's kind of a new one for Dredge. And then, yeah, it's looking like a good turn for them. Get some Dredgers. Yep, they're getting a lot of power out on turn 2. Or, no, it was just, actually not too bad. They did put a lot of cards in graveyard, but only 4 power, not too bad. So play at the Gretchen here because it does block their 3/3s quite well. Soak up a little bit of damage, stall sometime. And then they play out their Ox, discard, Dredge a lot, this time hitting Nakamivas and some Creeping Chills. Attack, easy block here on the prized. And then now they get a lot of power into play. So do end up drawing the Fog. Not worth the risk to try to Growth Spile to hit this second green mana to actually play the Fog, so just set him attack in for a lot. No blocks, and then just play the good old classic Fog. So really need to draw a Fog or Cryptic Command here, which we do not. Play out another one of these lands, so now Cryptic Command to tap down the board's no longer a live draw, but I could still draw the second Fog. And I end up getting the Cryptic Command a little late now. Could have stalled this one more turn, tapped on the board. I don't know that all this like stalling a few turns is really gonna get us this game though. They do have the Hero Might, so if we ever do find the Reclamation, we won't get to activate it. They have the green open for it as well. But yeah, we end up losing this one. We could block their Ox, which is their biggest creature, and it's still at least 12 damage point at us. And they do have a Confagorate in their graveyard with what will be 5 cards in hand. So, well, 2-2 in the league. So last one more match, either going to finish positive 3-2 or the 2-3 league. So last match of the league, and we're on the play again. Kind of slow starting hands, but it's good. It's got good amount of lands and spells. Alright, turn 1 T-West tapped, possibly Amulet again. It looks okay, definitely Amulet. It kind of looked like it might have been Blue Tron, but Gruel Turf. It's Amulet Titan again. Yeah, just play out lands. Don't think I need to counterspell the Amulet. I think I'd rather just counter their creatures, their Titans. And would rather just try to draw 2 cards here. I want to try to get something going from my board state. At this point, I do need to, can't play it, tap out to play the Jace. I gotta save the counter magic. Alright, so they get the Cavern. They need Nymph so that they can play their Dryad. I can't counter it, but what I can do is steal their Amulet in response, so their extra land drop doesn't get to untap, which is a T-West. Okay, just gonna play at the Time Warp here, take an extra turn. That way, on this extra turn, I can play Jace and still have counter magic. Gonna bounce up the Dryad. So now they're slowed down by having to replay the Dryad or play a counterable Titan. And they play the uncounterable Dryad, additional lands, and then Azusa. They only have 3 cards left in hand. I'm not really afraid of this Azusa. And I have their Amulet now, so making a bunch of land drops doesn't seem all important. So Brainstorm there. I don't have enough to Shock Typhoon and hold up the counter magic, so I don't play it. They attack here, so they have Titan mana. I do want to hold up the counter spell, but post-combat Titan isn't actually that scary, so I'm just going to tap out to Shock Typhoon here for 5, which 5 is also good for the 4-turn clock of attacking in the air against the Titan deck. So easy block there, and they do have the Summoners Pact for the Titan, which they go ahead and do, and get out Valakut plus Growth Chamber. Okay, so there was that second Jace I put back on top. So I don't need the second Jace, and then 3 Growth Spirals is way too many, and then we get to cycle just to shuffle away the Jace and the extra Growth Spiral and get my land drop. Attacking here for 5. Going Growth Spiral first, and then just take an extra turn. If I can get a couple more take an extra turn things, this Shark Typhoon will be able to just kill them. Go and play out Reclamation. Just trying to draw some cards, looking for that extra turn spell. Attacking. And then my hand's still pretty good here for whatever they're going to do with the double counterspell and the Cryptic. And they have to pay for the Pact here. And there's no line like the other Titan deck where I could make them lose their Pact. They have plenty of mana, so they play Dryad out, uncounterable. Play a bounce land, try to kill my Jace. So just gonna Cryptic to bounce and tap down the creatures. That way Valakut doesn't trigger, and now they can't attack. And they replay their lands so that they can play out their Dryad again, but that should be all their land drops. Or, right, they had 1 land drop left, so they do get to kill Jace. But still not too bad of a position. Go and scry here at the end of the turn. Beanstalk's good, Harbor's not, so Beanstalk's just a free draw. With the double Reclamation, I got plenty of mana to use. Play the Beanstalk. Really just want to find one more extra turn spell, because then this Shark Typhoon will just attack in for the win. So just trying to scry here. So trying to win this is really good. I really wouldn't mind drawing it, but I can't play it this turn, and it's not a Nexus, so I'm really just looking for Nexus. So attacking for 5, and I got a few more looks here to try to find Nexus. Going to stop by scrying. Neither of those are Nexus. I have one more untap on the stack, so I can scry again. Again, counter and witness are good, but not Nexus, so put them both on bottom. And try to draw, still not Nexus. Alright, but double Cryptic and double counter, I should be pretty safe from anything they do. So I just stopped looking for a Nexus there, save up all my mana for this double Cryptic and counter. Amulet seems worth the counter spell. One Valakut trigger to the Shark's fine, it's not going to kill it. The second one, not so fine. Let's go ahead and bounce and tap down the board again so they can't attack. And then Dryad again. This time I can bounce it again, and then this time counter it, so because they don't have another cavern, so bounce it again, draw a card, and there's a Nexus. So yeah, if I would have used the Mika Core, it actually would have got the Nexus, and I would have been able to take the extra and just win there. It wasn't worth the risk though. And then now I have the counter spell open to counter their Dryad again. And then they play the One Ring, so now Shark does not get in there for the win. Gretchen's okay here. Against the One Ring, this isn't the best plan, but I'm going to try to mill him out with Mikakoro, so the idea is to just get out these Nexuses, each turn keep using Mikakoro to draw cards, we both draw cards. Eventually I get to the point where all I have left is Nexus, and then I just draw Nexus. I make sure to keep my hand size up so I can discard Nexuses for turn, and then it's a lot of clicky process. I'm kind of going through this quickly. Not really the most entertaining things to watch. I have no more fetchable lands left. Eternal Witness also can start bouncing a Cryptic Command, which Cryptic Command I can use to bounce their things, and then I can use Jace to bring back Eternal Witness. The problem with this is it's working fine. I'm down to only 13 cards left, and 4 of them are Nexus, so looking pretty good. The problem is my clock. I'm down to 13 minutes as I'm trying to play through this. Even yeah, fast forwarding helps a little bit to watch this, but it is just a slow process that takes a lot of clicks and a lot of time on the clock. I get a bunch of cards, keep drawing them a bunch of cards, trying to bounce their things. I probably could have, instead of getting the Cryptics, been getting the Boseiju and just started destroying their lands. But I mean, it's still a lot of clicks. Jace can minus every other turn, or every 2 turns. Then it's got plus up targeting myself because I can't target them. And then it can minus Eternal Witness, minus Eternal Witness. It's a lot of clicks. it just goes on for a long time. And then eventually, as I'm looking at this clock, and this is only game 1 and I only have 10 minutes left, I realize I'm not going to be able to mill them out this way. They still have 26 cards left. I bounced my own Up The Beanstalk to just kind of help. I'm down to where Nexus is the only card, so to just try to make this go faster, bounce that. And then I try to kind of set myself up here with the good hands that really I just want to be able to survive one more turn. But I should have kept going a little bit longer. It's just I'm either going to lose to the clock or I'm going to lose because I stopped the turns too soon. So yeah, a lot of actions. Trying to speed this up because I know it's probably not the most fun thing to watch. Just a lot of casting Nexus, drawing cards, bring back Cryptic. So I think at this point is what I hope is enough with just a Cryptic and a counter. But really, I should have tried to get like a second Cryptic or something else. I needed a little bit more interaction here because I drew them a lot of cards, plus they have the one ring, so they have a lot of cards. I needed to have more counters in my hands, and I easily could have gone a little bit longer. But I mean, really, I needed to identify the fact that this combo takes a lot of clicking earlier, and realize the fact that I wasn't going to be able to pull it off, and instead of trying to mill them out, I should have just been on the game plan of making sure that they cannot win this turn and that I would get another turn. So just stocking my hand of counters and cryptics instead of the Mikokoro plan. Yeah, definitely a punt there. I knew this deck could wing through the ring, but not necessarily on Magic Online because of how long it takes to click through everything. You can shortcut it in paper a little bit easier, or even paper if I would have played out the combo and won game 1, still would have been able to have the match 1-0. Does not work that way on Magic Online. If I run out the clock, I lose. So, yeah, they just have so much stuff, and I only had 2 counters. Definitely needed more. So, this is Valakut to kill me here. So, tapped on the board, bounced their Dryad, and then they just replay it. Packed for Grazer, and I'm out of answers. Definitely misplayed that. So they end up winning the game that we should have won. They are down to 14 cards, so I was close there with the Mikokoro, but also only 6 minutes left. I was close to losing to time as well. But 6 minutes, not looking good to win 2 more matches, but we'll go to game 2. Game 2 against Titan, same sideboard, putting in the explosives, putting in the Aether Gust, taking out Shark Typhoon, Charms, putting in Forces, taking out 1 Cryptic, 1 Time Warp. Did not put in the Fogs. I don't remember if I did that last time, but not really good against him. So gets me on the play. Good starting hand here. Turn 2 counter, turn 1 force. And it's got the Hall already in hand, which is going to be important for actually trying to win a game in 5 minutes. They play the Saga, not really worth to get rid of my Reclamation and Force just for a Saga. Especially when I can just wait until they actually get the Amulet and then destroy the Amulet. Cavernary Nymphs. And now this is worth the Force, but I would like to actually just keep this Reclamation and maybe draw a green source here, but I don't want to fetch this Vista for a forest just to play the forest, so I'd rather get the island. And I'm just going to Charm here and try to draw 2 cards, see if I can draw the green source, and I do not, but I do draw a second Reclamation, which makes pitching one of them a lot easier to kill the Dryad and the Saga. So now play out the Reclamation, untap. I do try to play really quick here, so I'm going to be making a lot of mistakes as this game goes, just because I'm fighting the clock here with only 5 minutes left and trying to win 2 more games with a deck that does not win fast. So just trying to draw some cards here. Bounce their land just to try to slow them down and draw a card. Maybe not the right thing to do, but just trying to play fast and aggressive. I don't have the double green for Witness, so drawing some extra cards here. Taking an extra turn with the Nexus. Alright, now I got the double green, so now I can Witness, bring back the Cryptic. I could have brought back the Forest and just killed the Dryad, but go with the Cryptic. So go ahead and Growth Spiral, and then Cryptic, returning Grove, drawing card. They can replay their Nymph, and then they did already play both land drops though, so that's good. And then got a lot of counter spells in hand. This is where, like, it probably would be better to be scrying and trying to, you know, get something else set up here. But I got 3 minutes. I'm not going to be able to win both games at this point, so it kind of doesn't matter. I might be able to win this game, but definitely not winning the next one. So counter the Amulet. They get the Titan, but without the Amulet, not too scary. And with the Cryptic in hand, I can tap it before combat. So I go and bounce the Witness here, tap down their board. Really, I'm just hoping that maybe I can pull some extra turns together and just start attacking with this Hall. So attack with the Hall, and then tap my mana wrong, so I can't Witness to bring back Cryptic, so I just end up playing the Beanstalk, and I mean, I really can't win this game, so or I might be able to win this game, just not the match. Like, this is where you get Summoner's Pact, counter that, let them attack in, that's only 6 damage, and they get 2 lands. They get Seiju. They go to play the Ring, have the counter for that. Play out another Reclamation, play out Jace. So, I mean, at this point, I guess I could have attacked, but now I'm going with the more. Just trying to set up a board, play the Witness, get back to Cryptic. Get a lot of untaps here, so some scries, and then, yeah, lose to the clock. So, kind of messed up game 1 there. I should have realized the clock, and then they just I would have been pretty good here game 2. I think would have been able to get this game here. Got a pretty good setup against whatever they have, but just yeah. And I mean, considering the combo and all that, they had 5 minutes left on their clock too, so it wasn't really necessarily like that slow of playing or anything. It was a lot of clicks on the Nexus, and just all the playing. They're trying to win this, cryptics and all that. So unfortunate to finish this league on that game, but hope you enjoyed this league. Thank you if you watched all the way through. Please remember to like and subscribe if you like this content. I want to try to do like weekly, 1 video per week. Just do it more often. It's kind of pretty inconsistent when I do post videos right now. But overall, Beans, I do think really helped this deck. Just given the Nexus and being able to loop that Nexus after Nexus. I don't know. I think 2 is a good number for it. It's not that many 5-drops to really try to do all 5 of them, but it's a fun deck, especially if you like taking all the turns and not letting your opponent play. But there you go. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.